What is good? We're just a couple of dummies talking about fantasy football.
Stupid.
Shout out to the Dynasty dummies, Kyle, Reed, and Zach. I got that backwards. Zach Reed and Kyle. What was Kyle's last name?
Kyle's last name is Kyle Lebrecht.
Lebrecht. Boom, nailed it. That's what we keep you around for. Stat guy.
Crushing names over there.
Yeah.
And name pronunciations.
Shout out to those boys. I think Zach's still out there trudging through the weeds.
Yeah.
Go check them boys out.
Probably be hopping on there, depending.
You cheating on us?
Never.
Son of a bitch.
I think I'm cheating on them.
All right, so we're through basically through the last week of fantasy football regular season. This will be our last live stream to recap stuff. We will be moving to no more real live streams. We'll still be putting out shows, but we will be moving to a once a week, most weeks Patreon format. So taking the extra attention over to the Patreon side. So come join us over there, patreon.com/the FF Dynasty, little $5 holler. Get you mock drafts all season long. Get your rookie drafts all season long. Get you all sorts of extra content now that we're moving away from, 2 a weeks. We're going to be throwing some of that over there. And we got the Discord and a nice little community building over there. So come get you some. If not, you can grab a T-shirt, FF Dynasty. You can go over to revelrybrewco.com and always be sure to like and subscribe if you have been enjoying the content over the duration of the season. Matt, Jason, myself, how you guys feeling? Everybody good? You guys ready to go? We get a couple of playoffs on the line here.
Playoffs?
Couple of buys coming up for your boy. We're about to get a bisexual in the Patreon number Trace.
Apparently, we're looking at the fear is Kyler Murray suffered a serious knee injury. MRI, other tests are coming.
That's gonna be a bummer. Is that gonna spell the end of the era of what's the coach's name in Arizona right now?
Cliff Kingsbury.
Is that going to be the end of the Kingsbury era?
I mean, they just signed Kyler to a huge deal, so it can't be the end of him.
Is that really going to put the nail in the coffin, or are they going to give him one more go round? Because it feels like it's pretty stale over there.
They always take it out on the coach. They're not going to take it out on the recently paid quarterback who doesn't want to study.
Well, they can get out easy. I mean, they can get out easier of the coach than they can the quarterback.
Yeah, they extended Cliffsbury. But recently,
you want to try that one again?
They extended Cliff Kingsbury recently, but it was kind of didn't seem like a real extension. It was just kind of like a fake vote of confidence, seemingly.
Yeah.
We know that the organization is not scared to go in another direction quickly. So
yeah,
it just doesn't.
Look at you, Josh Rosen.
Doesn't things like things are going very smoothly over in Arizona. I would say that Kyler is probably more than 50% of the problem because he definitely seems like a little baby bitch. But
emphasis on the word little.
Yeah. That really didn't have anything to do with the size. It was just the way that he acts. Doesn't seem great. But we shall see. Seems like it's kind of come to light a little bit, much like the Russell Wilson being a kind of a robot and nobody fucking with him in the locker room, like I've been saying for like the last 10 years.
That fucking Subway commercial is so weird.
He's
so weird.
It's pile on Russ, but Russ was playing well this past game
until he got the absolute.
And then that was a brutal.
Did you see that hematoma he had on his forehead?
I didn't see that, but it was just a brutal replay of the zoom in. He was just gonzo. It's tough to watch. A lot of the time.
That was Russell?
Yeah. But he was showing some signs of life and was scrambling around, and that play that he got injured on was a big pickup. He kind of scrambled and thwarted a guy off, and like a little bit of vintage Russell kind of going on there. Him and Judy were kind of getting it going on. But so that was a bummer that we didn't get Russ there, because what maybe could have been with the Broncos taking down the Chiefs once Rippon came in, it didn't seem like
Hey, Judy on a touchdown.
Did catch his
He
third.
threw it to,
Or was that his third?
Yeah, it was.
Third.
It was his third.
Yeah, that was third. Yeah.
All right, let's start with the 1 o'clock, so we won't jump all the way over there. We'll skip over. I mean, we win one game, you're wearing fucking Rams gear over here. I guess we could start there since Baker Mayfield's new lease on
it's
life.
the first time I've worn this.
I feel like you've probably worn it. We can go back through those. Let's review the tapes. Mostly Penn State.
Haven't worn it in a while.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So
Stevenson's back in.
I don't know. Well, that's nice for a lot of exhales for fantasy managers there. It's been a pretty tumultuous week or 2 weeks here for a lot of fantasy players going into the playoffs. And it's just a clusterfuck. And then the buys this week.
Yeah,
really. Really, just you're fighting for the new format of how it lays out and how the buy work out with the added game seems to be every year now. You're just getting a slew of buys in 13, 14, and it's just devastating.
That's how it's always been, though, right? They have buys up until week 13, right?
Yeah, but it wasn't the last week of the fantasy.
Yes, it was.
Regular season.
Everything shifted back a week. This has been the case every year.
No,
I can't ever remember having. I had rosters that had fucking an entire.
There was 4 teams
bottom
on
of
bye.
the roster on a bye, and it was
4 teams on a bye.
Who was on a bye? I knew the Commanders were on a bye.
Commanders, Bears, Colts, and
Falcons.
Oh, and Packers.
So
there must have been a 6 team as well too. Then
it had to have been. And I'm not drawing a blank.
6
right now.
teams sounds excessive.
Maybe it had to be 6, right? You can have an odd amount of buys.
What is it? What is it, week 14 or week 15?
So that was a tough sledding out there in some cases where I was barely able to field a roster, especially superflex. If you had Fields and then another quarterback get banged up, or Mariota was your third guy, or something along those lines, it was pretty tough sledding out there.
Hope you scoop Brock Purdy.
But Vegas, LA let us off. You had the Baker Mayfield miracle comeback there, where maybe it doesn't happen if homeboy doesn't swat the ball out of his hands after a sack, get the clock stopped, get the first down.
We missed the Saints, by the way, too.
Saints.
Falcons, Bears, Packers, Colts, Saints, Commanders.
6 teams on a bye. I can't ever remember that going into it.
There's always been buys the last week of the regular season, but probably
2.
not 6.
Yeah.
That's the NFL just being dickheads.
That was like that last go round too, I feel like. So new lease on life for Baker. Josh Jacobs has another pretty good game. Not quite.
Yeah, but he's been banged up.
Right. Not quite up to Josh Jacobs standards.
It wasn't 230 and 230 with 3 touchdowns.
Only 19 points.
Yeah. Right. The Raiders kind of
son of a bitch
slowly gave this one away, playing some questionable defense there at the end. It doesn't seem like they're going to get rid of their coach because they're a poverty franchise, and frankly,
they can't afford to because they're paying John Gruden $80 million still.
Not that I think we're too quick to pull triggers. I think I would ride Josh McDaniels out for another year, and I mean it's a tough
one season.
That's what I'm saying. We like to quickly go in and make that decision.
He does probably have coordinator face, but it is just one season.
It's potential, but I mean,
Bill will take him back in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I know, right?
Me and Big Co were talking, and Derek Carr's set the record with most coordinator changes, I think, in a career of staying in one place, and it's just
the eyeliner creeps him out.
was really showing life last year, and then kind of a big regression this year, and just not quite, things aren't quite clicking over there, and all of a sudden you didn't expect Josh Jacobs to be the focal point of this offense, but that's kind of been what's been driving them through winning these last couple of games, and he put him in position again to potentially.
It's been Jacobs and Adams, and that's
win this game, and they've been pretty banged up. They've been missing Renfro, and Waller really didn't seem to be healthy for really any of the season.
Yeah,
even when he was out there. So you might get him back this week if you made it through the playoffs.
Solid goose egg this week by Foster Moreau.
Any buys for Derek Carr, because the value is probably pretty he's somebody that people will get down on really quick. So there probably is some super flex appeal for Derek Carr. Is there anybody interested in buying? Now I know that we're mostly out of trade windows here, but we're kind of just talking potentially after season, or some leagues that I play in, or just you can't, playoff teams just can't trade with teams that are out, so out teams could trade with one another, or playoff teams could trade with one another, although that's probably not super likely. And then some get things, it's just the trading gets cut off at playoff time, which I'm also fine with.
So this week you wouldn't be able to trade because playoffs start next week,
right? So there's not a whole. That's why we're kind of cutting this off, because it's like I feel like a lot of things are gonna stop as far as what we can do.
Start looking at rookies,
right? We're gonna
23 rookies.
Move to that, but Derek Carr, would anybody be interested in buying maybe a low window here?
Yeah, I would.
Definitely interested in buying.
You think he's a little bit closer to what he was than maybe what has been going week by week here?
For sure.
I would
coming off of a 4.5 point game.
He needs to be paid, right? Or is he paid?
Wait,
he's paid.
He scored 4.5 points on Thursday.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yikes. Threw a bad pick.
Only 11 completions.
Half. He was kind of getting hit, but it was a terrible
pick.
They
had
20 pass attempts. I mean, they just didn't throw it at all.
I think I saw they only had 24 yards after halftime on Thursday night.
And that's why some people are upset with McDaniels, because got conservative or whatever, and it's like, man, what's been winning you fucking these games though is
not that many though,
running the rock. But I think this was about to be 4 or 5 in a row.
Yeah, they had 1 of 3 in a row.
And they definitely should have won this game.
For sure.
They pissed
it away.
So obviously Josh Jacobs is kind of untouchable right now. I think when we're gonna have John Bauer on the non-live show, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about some of those contract years / that which is mostly for running backs, is a lot of the Montgomerys, Jacobs, Sanders kind of deals.
Sanders, so how you doing?
Maybe we'll talk a little bit more in depth with those guys with him, kind of what we expect moving forward. So a little bit of a buy window possibly with Derek Carr, and you guys are all seemingly okay with that. I mean, he's never going to be your QB1 that lights it on fire, but can be your QB2.
I mean, people were very excited about him coming in this year. I certainly was. I was in a redraft league debating on whether to take him or Tua, and someone put $3 on him in the auction, and I was in, and I was like, well, I'll get Tua for $1 then, and thank fucking God, although Tua the last couple weeks not great, but still 15 points. But
shout out to J Mike. He said Tua has turned into a pumpkin.
Tough game against his nemesis, the teacher, if you will, against the San Francisco 49ers last week. Not as much of an excuse this week, especially with as many players as the Chargers were down. But back on defense,
still seemed off with Tua this week. But
for sure,
I'm sure we'll touch on that.
But back to Derek Carr, you were drafting him kind of high in superflex startups, and there was so much hype around this team. The mothership was crowning them. Dan Patrick was like, settle down. Now, to their credit, they haven't had Waller. They haven't had Renfro. Right. They haven't had a complete cast of weapons and ready to go.
Line's a little, had
the only thing that's
picks on that
working
line.
Out is Devontae Adams and Josh Jacobs. And
which Josh Jacobs was not, according to most people, was not going to work out.
Right. Especially after the
Hall of Fame game.
How could he? That's the Hall of Fame game, and they didn't pick up that 5th-year option. Jeez, I mean, it doesn't even make sense.
Might as well just cut him.
Should have.
Yeah,
I don't know why they didn't.
I saw one of the guys who was talking about that, really talking shit about other people's logic for how they talk about fantasy, and I'm like, how dare you?
Was this person on the show at one point?
How dare you? Yeah. How dare you?
So value's got to be down on Derek Carr, although before this past week, a string of 20+ point weeks. What is he, QB? This doesn't say here. QB 16 on the year. So
right.
Maybe the perception is down versus what you've been seeing.
Right. I have him as a third QB in a league, and I've started him and not started him, and it's just been okay. It hasn't been quite what you wanted, and I just, again, this game is so predicated on public perception and public value, and he's definitely a guy who doesn't get the benefit of the doubt. He's gonna get thrown down and thrown to the wolves a lot quicker than some of these other guys will, even though for some reason Justin Herbert seems to be under duress of people saying that he's not as good as he may be. And it's
I don't
even know what you're watching, but that's neither here nor there.
Last night.
But so I think
they were S&S D so hard on that broadcast, it probably brought people back.
They
on
got him
Herbert,
at QB 13 on Fantasy Pros.
he signed a decent team-friendly deal, but I think it locks him in there for another 2 years.
Carr?
He is only 31 years old. Yeah, he got a nice little payday before the season started, but it wasn't outrageous. It was sort of teamish friendly, although he's not necessarily a elite guy.
Let's take a look here.
Yeah, so not the full complement of weapons. New
head coordinator.
another new coordinator, and like I said, I don't know what the exact number is, but I think he's been at an all-time high of new coordinator, new head coach kind of
they
deals.
can get out after this year.
Yeah, I think there's a dead.
What's the debt?
There's an option for them to get out.
5.6?
Yeah, not a lot.
He's owed zero guaranteed.
There's
money.
an option of them moving on. So it's interesting for him. He hasn't done himself any favors. I don't think necessarily.
Are you going over the cap?
No.
No. Okay. Let's say I'm on it right now.
Oh.
No, I go to Spot Track.
He steals all the stuff from over the cap. That's why I don't go there.
Oh, it's a much better website. Anyway, so maybe a small little window there for buy window for Derek Carr if you're a believer.
He was given $65 million total guaranteed, so they got to eat a little bit. But yeah, only $5 million dead. Do you think they keep him? Because that's the only appeal is if he's a Raider next year with all these weapons.
I don't know. That's the only appeal. I mean, I
Go
think he's
to a number of places and eat quarterbacks.
Yeah, I'm fine with buying a little bit of a dip here. I'm not looking for him to be my number one, fix my team, but and just win me games. But I'm looking for him to be my nice number 2, maybe even 3, in some situations, and not upset about it. Like I think he's got Kirk Cousins ish appeal to me, even and there's kind of this similar. Kirk Cousins right now is QB 14, so right around, and I think
not that far off.
I think Kirk's playing some pretty good football throughout the season here with again a new coordinator and a new system who seems to have a decent amount of belief.
You know who's playing good football right now?
Who's that?
Jared Goff.
So Baker Mayfield, though, before we get off of this game, obviously, maybe in your redraft leagues, if your boy Tutu Atwell's out there, maybe you scoop him up for a playoff run and see if you can get a spot usage out of him.
More of a Van guy.
They're just so depleted. Yeah, I mean, Skoranek looked like he was getting some love from Baker in this, but obviously Baker's out there having no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
Is this rejuvenation for Baker here? Is he going to come in and play some games and get a contract, or are they going to keep him as the backup because you're not sure what Stafford's going on, or is there?
I think they should keep him as the backup because touchdown James Conner. I mean clearly John Wolford's not a backup quarterback in the NFL.
Right. He's been banged up and not great, and Baker comes in and Raiders doing some dumb things to put Baker in the position to get the W here, but
he still made some nice throws.
Yeah, he did. He wasn't bad, and Baker has had ups and downs, and the ups are decent and the downs are terrible.
Oh yeah.
Now the shoulder thing was last year, and then he's in Carolina, and it just didn't seem like it was kind of gelling there, and now you're getting kind of rejuvenated here, and you're in a potential spot where if Stafford's there, he's obviously going to be the starter next year. There is a little bit of whispers
I don't think
we don't know what's going on.
I don't think so. I don't think there's anything going on there.
Probably not. But would it be advantageous for Baker to just take a million or 3 to just chill in Los Angeles for a year?
I mean, Blake Bortles did it.
I think so too.
I mean, I'm not comparing. I don't know.
That's not the worst comp.
And then either hey, maybe Stafford is. Maybe he does have one foot out the door, and you can have a foot in taking that over, or B, it's not the worst place to be and kind of get a little buzz rolling and learn that system. And now that is also a system that is highly sought after, and there's a lot of coaches that come from that tree throughout the NFL at this point, where you can go in there and fit in, which Stefanski's system isn't too far. That's a Kubiak kind of deal, which a lot of this other stuff is West Coasty, kind of based out of that tree and system. So Baker there, I know a lot of people, he's been left for dead. So obviously he just had a good game and it was a standalone. But I saw a lot of Baker being traded for next to nothing before that game. So what is there? Is anybody interested in if you could buy Baker right now for a third
in Superflex?
Superflex?
I mean, what
I
are you
don't
doing
know.
in the third? Sure, fuck it.
Yeah, 100%. That's an easy one for me. No?
I mean, I guess.
Yeah, I think you got to. I can't go second right now, but you could go third.
Are you holding for the
Which is-
I mean, I've traded a second for Landry Jones before, so
Are you holding for the third?
What do you mean?
Would you sell him?
Would I sell him? No, I'm keeping him. We're chilling. I definitely
Because
be
now's a
trying to-
good time.
I mean, he's not a bad handcuff if you have Stafford as well too as a lotto ticket.
I mean, generally, it's probably not going to work out. But
Pretty much dead, and then all of a sudden, in the
Little
3
life.
minutes to go, he Tom Brady that thing.
But I mean, he played fine all game,
did.
and there is. I think he can be a starter.
He does at times.
There's not 32 guys who are better than him starting right now.
So just the Carolina Panthers. That's
just maybe a mix of things. It just didn't work out, and it just wasn't.
because
I don't
Sammy
know.
D came in and they beat the Seahawks, right?
I mean, yeah, they got some juice right now. I
Yeah,
don't know.
they're like 2 games. If they win out, they'll win the NFC South.
Apparently, the players all love Steve Wilkes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what was going on, and at Baker, like I said, it's more than likely not the best deal to not try to just get something for him, but I'm okay with just hanging on, and I think he can be a starter again in the league, and for a third, I'll chill or buy for that price tag. So, anything else you want to hit on?
No, we should probably move on.
Let's get out of there.
Here, let's hit a couple questions before we move to the next game.
What do you got?
Let's see here. Recovering Ridley Truther. What up? Let's see. He said, if you get time, I'll make time. I'm making time for the boys. These guys don't like it, but fuck them. 12-team Superflex, 1-point PPR, 2-point tight end premium. Not sure what 0.5 FD bonus for wide receiver tight end means.
First down bonus.
Oh.
Fucking dumb bitches. That's what it stands for.
Running backs don't get the bonus.
It's the only kind I fucked for a while.
It's the only kind of a fuck you. Give Lamar Olave a 24-second. Get Deshaun Watson, Devonta Smith, and a 23-second. Lamar and Watson are close enough.
Run that by me again.
Same tier, but gap from Olave to Smitty feels too far. So it's Lamar Jackson. You be giving him away. You get Deshaun Watson. You're giving Olave. You get Devonta Smith. And you move your second up from 24 up to 23.
I think I'm sticking with the Lamar Olave side.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. Ronaldo.
Even though I think obviously Watson has been bad through it's a pretty tough spot to be in, right? Where
Hadn't
he's
played
at.
in 2 years, year and a half.
So shout out to Trey Lance's of the world. It's not that dark. He hadn't played in a while either, and Deshaun's was one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Hadn't played in a while, struggling to come in. So
Just traded for Trey Lance in a league, actually.
you should probably trade for Trey Lance right now because this
Based on Deshaun Watson.
Brock Purdy hype is fucking outrageous.
What about this one? Let me hear this real quick. So I traded
No.
He's better than Tommy, right?
Jason. You'll love this one.
Purdy?
Trade. So this is a must-start
Don't step over me.
must-start two tight end league. But I traded Gerald Everett and DJ Moore
See ya.
for Trey Lance and a third, and you must start 2 quarterbacks as well too.
Like it.
So
Like it.
anytime you can get rid of DJ Moore is a good day.
Especially, I made this deal.
Keep fucking around, and DJ Moore's dad will come back.
I made this deal at 12:55 on Sunday.
Yeah, he
And
played all but 3 snaps,
I
0
got
targets.
0 points.
I don't even know if did he have a
I think
target?
he had 2. I think he had 2 targets.
He had a couple targets.
I do think that there probably will come a point where Watson's value will be higher than Lamar's, but I'm not sure it'll necessarily be enough to. And it's not. I think Devonta Smith is as good,
He's fucking great.
if not better than Olave is.
Right.
But it's just the system and how they play, and
Yeah.
AJ Brown's there, and I
It
think
worked out Sunday.
There's a lot of talent there for it. Works out sometimes, but other times it doesn't.
Well, that's the case with a lot of players.
Olave has a real chance of being the guy over there. So that's really the difference. And he's having a great rookie campaign so far with Andy Dalton, and the other guys playing with an MVP quarterback right now, where I don't think it's getting any better in that situation moving forward, unless AJ Brown goes away, which is
not.
And under this run here, where if Devonta's doing a little better, I don't know what the splits are in this last game, but Goddard's not playing either.
That's a good point. He's on IR.
Eligible to come back this week.
I mean, I think it. Yeah, sure. Olave potentially to be the number one guy. Who the fuck's gonna throw it to him? Right?
They got to get a new quarterback.
A lot of teams do.
Yeah, but that's
so like
I'm not going to be worried about that.
Whereas you have Jalen Hurts, who's probably only going to get better. This man's just done nothing but get better, right?
Yeah, I don't know how much better he can get.
Yeah, I mean, I think
we saw it.
I think you're capped out.
He just did it
for sure. But I'm like
Smith, and
that's what I'm saying. He's the MVP of the league right now. Like that, you're not getting any better.
We're seeing Jalen Hurts' ceiling. I'm not saying he can't keep it up.
Fucking spectacular.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But their pass volume still isn't.
They were
super
passing
high.
A lot this past game.
But even so, their pass volume
and Miles Sanders is eating.
Their pass volume, I believe, is like 15, middle of the pack, per game. So it's just there just seems to be better opportunity for Olave, who is probably in the similar talent tree of Devonta Smith.
Look at this shit. Loitering.
So anyway,
can't say in the hunt. All right, well, let's do a couple more. What's a fair price for Bijan?
Firstborn son.
Bijan. I don't think there is any fair price for Bijan.
It's probably Jonathan Taylor.
That's a fair price. That's a little expensive. That's
Breece
expensive
Hall?
money.
Yeah, I mean it's got to
be
pretty. It's got to be another one of the top running. He's going to come right in, and he's going to be a back end of the first round draft pick probably.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
In non superflex or maybe even superflex. Non superflex, there's gonna be, dude. I can almost guarantee you by the end of this next coming off season, by the time we're in August doing mock drafts for startups or even June or July, like people will be like right. So it's not,
and he only has to have like one good game.
You're basically resetting for a 20-year-old guy who's got as much potential as those guys, if not more in some people's eyes.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily saying that, that's what you got to do. But if you're saying what's the value, I mean, that's basically the value. It's got to be. I mean,
yeah.
If not, then there's multiple firsts attached to the next running backs that you're going to say there. I mean, Swift isn't getting it done for Bijan at this point. No. And you'd probably have to attach at least one first to Swift. And even then you may not get that done. And who are the next running backs at this point? I don't even fucking know.
ETN.
Which no way.
Yeah.
Najee, no way.
No.
Ramondre's making himself a little case here, but he's certainly not up there.
He went to the locker room again.
Javante's been injured, and the Broncos, let's ride.
Kenny 3 sticks.
3 sticks, but banged up right now.
Yeah.
And so that's going to take an at least an extra first, if not more, to get up to there. So I mean, I just
Dameon Pierce.
Dameon Pierce is.
Well, he looked fucking good on Sunday. I don't know why you're laughing like that over there. He's fucking good.
Once CJ Stroud comes in and is decent, all of a sudden things are a little different.
I just like to be an ass.
Hey, I like it too. Come on, keep it coming. All right, let's go. What do you want to hit next? You want to talk about Jets Buffalo? Was really hoping for a bit of a better day with James Cook there, but we've been seeing a
lot of running, just did not much with it.
It's a great defense that they're playing.
Yeah, that's true. Underrated defense, I think.
Underrated, properly rated.
Properly rated, yeah.
But yeah, not a ton of work for James Cook. Only four carries, 6 yards.
I think he got a lot of work. I think he did a lot with it.
Yeah, I think if I got 4 carries here.
Josh
Allen leading.
He only played 5 less snaps than Singletary did.
Yeah, with Josh Allen leading the team with 10. Singletary had 8. And then just one reception for James Cook. But we had been seeing a little bit of an ascension of James Cook, which was nice to see, and a little bit of a downer. If it maybe continues a little bit, there might open up a window to rebuy James Cook if you want, because I think you're seeing glimpses of what you want to see there. The problem always with the Bills is you're just going to get games where the usage is just not what you want it to be, and you want to be so in on these offenses that are so good, but you're just not quite. They're just not there. Like,
well, I just don't think they're balanced. That's their problem. They
Right.
just have no balance whatsoever.
That's what some of these, obviously, Chiefs have won the Super Bowl once. They've advanced multiple times past there. And the Bills haven't even got there yet. And these are like the two premier offenses in the league, but it just seems like at times, obviously Mahomes is very hard to deal with, but like some more balance would really serve you extremely well. And it doesn't seem like the Bills could necessarily figure that out. I know a lot of people are saying you can't do that and you got to be a passing team. It's a passing league, but I mean, there is.
I just don't think the running backs are very good.
Right. Well, I think Cook seems like, and I think Singletary's plenty good. If you ride Singletary,
I think he's fine.
Good.
I think he's fine.
I think
Cook's definitely shown some.
I think
juice.
Cook and Singletary are both a step above fine. I wouldn't say very good, but I can put them in the good range.
When Josh Allen is leading the team in carries, no one's going to be good.
Yeah,
Right.
I think that's an indictment on play calling and what they want to do systematically than it is the running backs that
they're
bringing
winning
in.
games.
They are winning, and I mean, this was they needed to win this one. The Jets, both teams really needed to win. It's a division matchup. Mike White was pretty banged up here.
Back-to-back weeks with no touchdowns.
Just gutted that one out. I thought he was dead twice.
Yeah.
And he just kept coming back. But on the other side, again, the Bills, I think I saw something today where Gabe Davis is at, like a 16% target share or market share, which just isn't going to do it for you in your Gabe Davis stock, and it's so up and down, and they've got a nice supporting cast, but it's just, we've talked about it in the past. It's just not good enough. I don't think it's good enough to really get them to the next level, which, I mean, they're obviously great, but like, it just seems like they're still very beatable. And the supporting cast is good. There just isn't a great Robin in there where it's like, man, this is really, really tough to stop, week in, week out. Whereas, we want it to be Gabe Davis, but I'm not sure it is. I think I'd be selling as high as I could on Gabe Davis. And I said that weeks ago.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been calling MVS for a while now.
Yeah, he's a fancy MVS, which I've seen other people say as
watch.
Well.
What's up, Gabriel?
I like Shakir. I like putting him on the squad. McKenzie's a decent, and you can sometimes find a nice little spot start out of those guys, but it just doesn't seem like it's a viable option outside of Diggs to really be feeling great about the start.
Yeah,
week in, week out, and it's really the same in the running game.
Big week for big Knox week.
Yeah, a decent Knox week, but again, he's another guy who stays hyped up, and because he's on this offense, and it's barely startable week in, week out. If he gets a touchdown, great. If he doesn't, it's not startable in most cases. Then it's the tight end, so it's a little bit different ball game. But it's pretty tough out there. But I like what I'm seeing from James Cook. I don't know why they did that. Like the Hines trade was just fucking weird. You're not
pointless.
You're not using him. It seems like that they want a player like that so bad, and that's what James Cook was going to be. But you're not calling anything for these guys. You're not creating them and making them a big integral part of this offense, which I think is the real big thing that's missing. Is you're not designing offensive schemes around the strengths of what you're doing at right. You're picking these guys and you're trading for these guys, but you're not integrating and building them in the way that they need to be built in. And that was my knock against James Cook. Is like, are they going to actually build things and integrate him into this offense? And it's like, I think he looks really good, and Singletary looks good when they feed him.
Yeah,
I'll buy Devin Singletary right now because he's probably not going to be a Buffalo Bill next year. And if he gets somewhere where he can get 15 carries a game, I think he's a nice little RB3. Borderline RB2 some weeks, because I think he is a good player. And there's certainly some tread left on that tire.
Old motor.
But switching over to the Jet side.
Real quick, with Josh Allen, we had a question here. I was queuing him up to save for a good part. But Drampian hit us up and said 12-team, half-point PPR, non-superflex, non-tight end premium. He's got Josh Allen, Pickett, picked up Purdy and Ritter. At what point do you consider trading Allen for value if one of the rookies breaks out? I'm not trading Allen.
Yeah, we're
in
just,
a 1 QB league.
We're gonna hang on to Allen.
Yeah.
and
I mean, the value is not gonna...
unless my team is absolute dog shit, and I need this to just get myself back up to be in the half of the in the top half of the league, because I got no other assets and no other ways, and this process is going to take so long to get there in any other way, shape, or form, and I gotta sell one of my best things to try to get 4 or 5 pieces to kind of build this team around it, and then I'll go hunting for another big difference maker. That's pretty much the only way I'm selling Josh Allen.
Also, unless you have a huge bench, why are you carrying 4 quarterbacks in a 1 QB league?
Yeah,
that seems like
agreed.
poor roster.
Well,
that's not the best roster
giant,
management.
you have to have a giant roster to be doing that.
You could have a bunch of guys on IR. Could be pretty deep roster. You
Sure.
could have a big taxi squad. There's times where you might be going against the guy that needs a quarterback. So you pick up a dude. I hear you, but it happens.
You can't be rostering 4 quarterbacks week in, week out
In a 1 QB
in a
league.
1 QB league, unless the rosters are absolutely monstrous, or you got a big taxi squad or whatever.
Or if you've got one injured.
If it's FFPC, absolutely not.
Well,
In
sure,
your
but if you
deep
got
dynasty,
if you got
rosters.
25, 20, 30 spots, then if you want to carry 2 or 3, I'm fine with that.
I mean, I have no problem carrying 3. That's not a problem at all. But 4, I think it could
seems
be
a bit
better.
egregious.
Yeah.
Moving over to the Jet side of thing, you had Garrett Wilson has a good enough game for you. Elijah Moore had a decent game for you. You got 12 out of him, and you got, what'd you get out of Garrett Wilson? 6 for 78. So yeah, somewhere around in there. 13.8
did it for you.
And so it's nice to see Elijah Moore spottings. But
when Corey Davis goes out off the rip,
yeah,
you're almost forced to throw it to the guy they hate.
That didn't work out for the Jets. Zonovan Knight had another nice day.
Bam!
17 carries for 71 yards and a touchdown. He looks
take a victory lap on Zonovan fucking Knight. Just watch that touchdown run.
Looks pretty good out there. Looks like he belongs. It was kind of somebody that kind of surprised he didn't get drafted a little higher than he did, and then it was kind of like,
well, it goes to a running scheme
make
that you
roster.
Like.
Well, and
he did make the initial roster, but then he was off it for a while.
Right.
Deep.
Well,
bench,
that's what I mean.
Deep room.
Well,
with
exactly.
Brees
you
and Carter.
had to have so much happen for him to get a shot,
Right.
and it's no indictment on him. He's a rookie and he's got no capital, and so they had enough injuries and they kept him around because they like what they saw, and he comes in and he plays well here. Now, I don't know how long you'll get this for, but it would seem as though let's keep riding this guy, and this really could be a huge piece for somebody running into the playoffs here. Like if you had a Kenny Walker or or maybe even a Ramondre just now. We don't know exactly what's happening with that.
Dameon Pierce got banged up, didn't come back.
Dameon Pierce could have been healed, although he did look like he was on the sidelines having a good time.
I mean, shit, you probably had to fire up Zonovan this past week with 6 bisexuals.
Right. And he could have helped you get in there, or maybe you didn't need him, but,
Carter caused a little bit of hesitation because he came back. He didn't know what that was going to look like, and it was a little bit bummer to see the snaps. I don't think he played a single third down snap, and he wasn't at all on the 2-minute drill, but still caught 2 balls, had the touchdown run, got the bulk of the first down work, got all the goal line carries. So,
2
Carter kind of muddies that up a little bit, but you're going to give him a couple dump downs. You can give him the goal line work. Like, could be a league pusher winner. Like,
I think
not a league winner, but just keep it there.
I think he can be on rosters that can, he's not. I don't know that he's going to I guess that's a good. I don't know if he's going to necessarily take you over the top, but he can keep you right in the mix to help other players take you over the top.
It's a bummer when you see a team that just lost a bunch of guys and all of a sudden they fucking are plugging Zonovan Knight against you,
And there's just,
I picked him up in redraft.
Carter just hasn't been great all year, really, either. And Zonovan in the last couple of weeks has been pretty solid. So
last 3 weeks, baby. 13, 16, 15.
They're playing the Lions. They're playing the Lions next week too. So
Saleh not afraid to ride guys, doesn't care draft capital or not. Obviously, what you're seeing with the quarterback. So I think Zonovan could be a big piece kind of moving forward. And then off-season wise, I'm sure his contract is 1 year, right? I mean, it's probably nothing. They're probably paying him
mean, I'm sure he's got something.
I know.
think
but
they
it's-
signed more
it's-
than a
it's-
1 year
it's-
deal.
That's probably like a 1 year minimum, couple $100,000, I would assume. So
They do have him under contract for 870,000.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I think all the unrestricted free agents get basically 2 years.
So what do you do there with him moving forward? You try
I
to
think you paid nothing for this guy. I guess
Yeah.
you could, if you can trade him to like a contender for
A second?
and does this
I'd probably do it for the 2. I don't think you can get a 2.
will the Jets cut him free, you think, at the end of the year, since they have Carter and a lot of capital
Not for
tied up?
870,000.
No.
Not with a LaFleurian
Yeah.
type guy that loves running backs and
Not-
is stable.
Not at a cap percentage of 0.4%. What's
Not
the
with
point?
Brees coming off a major knee
Just
injury and
because
Michael Carter.
they
not
might have a
being-
log jam there, and they might have guys that
They'll
they
get rid of
maybe-
Ty Johnson. They'll get rid of whoever else is there. But
They'll
I
probably
think,
cut James Robinson.
right. I think he sticks for
Oh,
870,000
for sure.
as a great backup insurance policy. Take some of the load off Brees
You'd like
here
to
and
think
there.
so, but sometimes it just doesn't work that way. But what do you?
You
so,
got to sell them to the Brees owner.
So you're not you can't get a 2 for him. I'm
Probably
sure.
not.
Probably
I would
not, but
do
if you
that.
can, I'd get do it all 10 times out
Sure.
of 10.
If you're moving into this week and you could get a 2 for him, you got to do that. But that's probably not ever and realistically
Holding
ever
for
gonna
a
happen.
third. That's
Um,
more of a good conversation there. Holding
right.
for a third.
I think the talent's there, and if he is going to get tied up in New York for a while, it's probably not worth it. But
yeah. I mean, it'd probably be worth it to sell for the 3 at this point. I mean, he's probably not going to be much of anything other than a mid handcuff going
Right.
forward.
and you can look at it either way. It's found money, so who cares? Or it's found money and get the value when you can.
It
and
depends on what your
turns into
situation
something
is
else.
going forward for the rest of the year.
Right. Now, if he could, and Brees is going to be injured, coming off an injury, so he could potentially weasel his way into.
He's sticking around.
So it'll be interesting to see
Hi, ladies. My name is Stifler, and I have an 11-inch dick. Around.
kind of what takes place there. Do we want to talk Cleveland, Cincy?
T. Higgins, 1 snap.
Yeah, people were very upset about the injury report there.
Let's hit a couple questions real quick. Thoughts
All right.
on Desmond Ritter overall now that he's getting the start?
Ask
would
me
be
in
a
2
re-
weeks.
What would be a reasonable
Fake
price to
outrage
give
from
up?
Kyler Murray on the card out of there. He's like, damn it, now all I'm going to be able to do is play Call of Duty.
Fake outrage from Kyler Murray on the card. Gosh darn it. Gosh darn it. I wish I could play the rest of this game. He's got a PS4 in the
Well, I
locker
can't.
room.
PS5.
Is that what's out now? I don't.
He's probably got a PS6 somehow.
Stupid console gamer over there.
What was
Who?
the
PC
question?
Master Race. Some nerds are watching, I'm sure,
Oh.
thinking,
What was the question? What about Ritter?
what would you be willing to give up for him in a super flex right now?
Probably not much. I mean, I'm probably just hanging out. Now, the Falcons have potentially played their way out of a really high end pick here,
Yeah.
but they could lose all the rest of the games.
Yeah.
Or Ritter comes in and is half
Takes him to
decent. I mean,
playoffs.
we know that the team has been playing pretty hard and is in a lot of games.
Yeah.
But
they could still put themselves in a position for a
Mo-
Richardson or a Levis or something like
most
that.
people paid a 2-ish for Ritter, if not an early 3.
In Superflex,
Yeah.
Probably a late 2.
I would say probably mid to late 2.
So I mean, I'm not gonna.
I don't know.
I'm,
Any day 3 quarterback's never going to be good.
I'm not
ever.
I'm probably not paying that
Or third round.
for the opportunity to see what I'm gonna get here. The 2. There are probably some people who are okay with selling the sunk cost to get the 2 back. I mean, a third, I'll take the chance all day. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I don't think he's going for. I don't think you're getting him for a third anywhere.
Probably not, because he's just about to get the chance to start. There was probably a point in the season where you maybe could have finagled him away for a third because it wasn't looking great.
Yeah.
And then you got a third round quarterback heading into next year who you didn't even see that could just get jumped coming into next season by a second round draft pick, like you said,
Or first.
or a first, because they could lose all these games. So I'm very interested in Ritter. I don't think he's a terrible quarterback. I liked kind of what you saw in the preseason somewhat. He seems to be a bit of a gamer, and you're getting some Brock Purdy action right now, looking good, given all the hopeless guys some hope. So, not paying the 2, I'd pay the 3, but that's probably not happening. So, it's probably not happening, but that'll be a game that I'm definitely going to be watching this coming Sunday is seeing what Ritter's got.
Sure, gotta check it out. Maybe he'll throw it to our boy Drake London a little bit.
I mean,
Speak for yourself.
probably going to be a hair sloppy, but who knows? I mean,
Drake had a pretty good week last week.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, just discount.
They're playing the Saints, so
writing that off.
Saints got a good defense.
Writing the year he's had off. No good.
Yeah, he's terrible. I would.
Still can't separate.
Yeah, probably paying 2/3 for him. Nothing more than that.
Do you think a 1-3 and 1-5 next year would be enough ammo for a top tier QB in a 12-team superflex?
1-3 and 1-5. I mean, what do we?
The 1-3,
Probably not,
the
right?
1-3 looks. The
What do
1-3
you-
is
Juicy,
nice.
but I mean,
What are we talking? Are you talking?
Yeah, define top QB.
I asked him that, he didn't respond.
Is it going to get you Mahomes?
It's definitely no.
No.
You're not getting Mahomes, Josh Allen.
You could probably buy Kyler for that right now.
probably buy Kyler. You might
definitely
could
buy
buy
Kyler for that.
Trevor Lawrence.
I mean, you could sell it. You could send it out for the Herberts and see if you can figure that out to add something else to that. I mean, I basically look at those guys as like, the starting point for any of those guys who are the top like 5-6 picks consistently in a superflex startup is basically the baseline seems to be 3 firsts.
3 firsts, yeah.
Kind of is your baseline there. So, if people
I
like
mean,
one of those quarterbacks and like one of those running backs, and maybe they have an okay quarterback room, maybe it could be a conversation. You might have to add something to it. Burrow's obviously been playing really well, but there was a stretch there where you probably could have got Burrow for that amount of money.
If I'm that owner, I'm probably just hanging on to that 1-3. Worst case scenario, you're going to get Stroud, you're going to get
Young.
Bryce Young, or you're going to get Bijan.
Right.
I'm not upset with
coming out on
Stroud.
yeah.
Whatever. That's fine.
There's going to be shade on every one of these quarterbacks.
Exactly.
Like I'm okay with the size shade. You want to throw that? It's fine. I don't really
that'd be
care.
Bryce Young with this
Right,
size shade.
Right. But with Stroud, it's like the processing of the game shade.
Yeah.
Well, there's Bryce Young
Don't like
processing in the
that
game
shade.
shade right now too. So
I haven't heard.
Seen
I've
that
heard
a lot.
opposite of that.
I'm hanging on to the 103 at that. Unless I can make a move to get one of those top 6 or 7 guys.
that's probably too much for T-Law. Although we'll get to that in a minute.
He's coming
Go
on.
Tigers.
We'll get to that in just a minute. But I mean, obviously Russ is out of that conversation right now.
Yeah.
Kyler just got hurt.
I mean, you could probably buy Watson for that right now.
That's too much for Dak, in my opinion, right now. He shouldn't be in the first round. Lamar, you probably get Lamar for that right now.
Probably.
And you could get Fields for that right now, probably.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
All day.
I would assume so.
See you 1-3, 1-5. Give me Fields. That's easy.
I don't know if that's easy, but you could probably make that happen.
I think I want to know a little bit more about the roster before I'm just making the dive on a quarterback.
Would you trade Justin Fields for Trey Lance, Aaron Rodgers, and J.K. Dobbins in a 1 QB league? You're in the playoffs? I don't think so. I'm keeping Justin Fields. Right?
Say it again?
10-team, half-point PPR, single QB.
Single
They're going to Superflex in 2025. Send Justin Fields for Trey Lance, Aaron Rodgers, and J.K. Dobbins.
Well, then you don't want Aaron Rodgers if you're going in 2025.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you get Trey Lance, and then you get Aaron Rodgers for this year.
And Dobbins.
Yeah, but what's Aaron Rodgers doing for you for this year?
Starting.
Yeah.
Keeping.
He's got
Fields.
He's got Burrow, though.
I just don't like that
He does have
trade. I mean, obviously,
Joe Burrow.
in next year, this time, Trey Lance could be doing exactly what Fields is doing, and that could have been a nice trade for you. But right now, I gotta chill out. You could probably get Lance for cheaper than that.
Start Kenneth Walker III versus San Francisco or Dobbins versus Cleveland.
I mean, I don't know if Walker is going to play.
not
I'm
even gonna
probably
play,
not
right?
all that
I'd
interested
stick
in
with Dobbins, yeah.
playing Walker. I don't really want to play Dobbins either.
Right.
But
Can you go pick up Knight?
I gotta go Dobbins there. If for some reason Walker gets a clean bill of health, sure. But I don't think so. I don't think we're coming off of missing a game on a short week coming back.
Oh, they're playing on Thursday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you guys like Empire Leagues? Have you ever played in one? The league blows up if someone wins it back to back.
Yeah.
I've heard of it, but I've
never played. We play Dynasty Pot where you keep
a
a pot going.
Yeah.
I
that
have
you
one of
move
those
money
too,
to the
yeah.
side, and if you double up, you get the pot.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't need to blow it up after that, though. I mean, it seems a bit aggressive.
Maybe you keep people from quitting.
I get the added kind of spin there, but I mean, I don't. Just play redraft.
Yeah. All right.
Let's keep this thing moving. Cincy, Cleveland. Let's skip that. Houston, Dallas.
Hold on real quick. I hope that you bought Donovan Peoples-Jones. I've been talking about him all fucking year.
Sure, DPJ had a nice little stretch. Has had a great stretch here.
And that PFF article was like, add Donovan Peoples-Jones. Like, a little late for that.
Yeah. You're not adding DPJ at this point. He was
Not
on.
even a redraft.
He was on
He's not
beginning
out
of the
there.
list, beginning of the season list to buy with him and Nico. He's been in multiple buys throughout the season here, and here he is. He's doing his thing. We have yet to see really Deshaun kind of emerge of being any good, but it's been a while, and there's obviously a lot going on. On his shoulders and in his brain. Some of this deservedly so, and I'm sure there's a lot of people
shoulders
that are
a little tight.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of people who are
I was looking for something in. That was
very
a good
much
one.
enjoying that. So, but Cincinnati gets the win. Cleveland didn't look great.
Cincy's look good.
Cincy has looked pretty good, and they've been down players and missing parts and pieces, and just keep plugging right along and figuring out ways to get wins, and big division win there for the Bengals. So let's keep it moving. Houston, Dallas. This one was a lot closer than
It should have been.
anybody thought it was going to be. Anybody laying the 17? I'm sorry, that didn't work out for you.
Yeah, that's too many points to go up in the NFL.
Agreed.
Pollard had a nice day for you. Zeke had a
Ugh.
decent day for you. Gallup was a huge letdown. I started Gallup over Miles Sanders.
Oof!
Um,
What are you doing?
So that was a bummer. Gallup's been on a nice little tear, and I didn't know.
Yeah, but so
Sanders.
Sanders.
A nice little tear is
Sanders
an understatement for Sanders.
Sanders is just, you never know.
Against
You
the
never know what you're
Giants?
going to get. You never know what you're going to get with the Eagles run, who they're going to give the fucking ball to. Like,
It's been Miles.
It's
Miles
probably the
Sanders-
guy who's like fifth in the league in yards.
Miles Sanders could be so good between the 20 and the
You're
20, and then they
fucking
bring in Boston Scott to
fucking
let the touchdown get
stupid.
run in there. So it doesn't
You
really
deserve that.
matter. Whatever. It doesn't
Here I
really
am
matter.
thinking you couldn't get any dumber. You go do a thing like that.
So that didn't really work out for you, but Gallup has been looking really good, and I feel like he's an integral part of this offense.
I
Kinda
saw that
moving
in that
forward.
PFF article there that Gallup is losing snaps to James Washington and 11 personnel.
Yeah, I don't really know necessarily what that's about. Probably because they're looking for a little bit more of a down the field presence, and that's what Washington can kind of give you. But I mean, I feel like
playing
Gallup can give you that too.
Playing Noah Brown over Gallup though.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's an elite blocker.
I mean, Gallup had a touchdown, and
Yeah.
there's just a bad throw, and got him fucking crushed. And but I felt like Gallup had really been coming on these last couple of weeks, and I do think he's a big part of that offense. And Dak loves him, and
he's
just-
he's a 23 play for me.
just wasn't necessarily there for you with Gallup, but CeeDee Lamb has come back around and kind of emerged as being what you kind of hoped. This game wasn't the game for you, but he has been kind of trending up for the most part, and kind of seemingly being the guy. He wasn't quite the guy this week.
That just weren't
you
up
know,
for the game.
Noah Brown outdid CeeDee Lamb this week too. So I
Yeah,
mean,
it was a weird week.
yeah, they all had 6 targets. Noah, CeeDee, Gallup. James Washington had 1.
All right.
Obviously coming back from a very long injury there. Dalton Schultz, kind of the engine, moving the sticks down there, and was big on that touchdown drive to win the game. So Amari Rodgers though was having a nice game out there for the Texans. So maybe
Go Tigers.
maybe a little redraft ad there.
Well, Nico and
potentially,
Cookes are both out.
for sure. But I mean, Rodgers just fucking got
Shit,
there.
pick him up at Dynasty.
Yeah.
He's
I
out
mean,
there.
for sure, Dynasty. I'm just saying, like, if you're going
What the
into
Packers
if you're
doing?
going into the playoffs and you need another guy to put at the bottom of your roster to maybe spot start somewhere, it might not be the worst. 5 targets, 4 receptions, 57 yards, and a touchdown, and looked half decent doing so. Obviously, Chris Moore has been the guy. 11 targets, 10 receptions, 124 yards, just crushing it
I
right now.
love Chris Moore.
Yeah. there was some Chris Moore love, and but it's been okay. A couple of weeks here for Chris Moore. So Rodgers and Moore kind of anchoring that receiving core right now. Obviously missing Nico and Brandon Cooks. I can see Brandon Cooks not playing the rest of the fucking season.
Yeah, what's the point? Yeah.
So Chris Moore probably not available in any of your redraft leagues. Amari Rodgers probably is. So that's just a potential stab at this time. A lot of other people are out. Maybe some people are still grabbing players that are out of the playoffs because they're jerks. But decent guy to stab at the bottom of the roster there. But
what's it run there from Pierre?
Be interesting to see where Tony Pollard ends up next year and what the price is going to be. Minnesota, Detroit, obviously a big game for Detroit here to keep themselves alive. Nice Jameson Williams sighting over there. Little broken coverage. Got behind him. Got a nice TD. Get his legs underneath him. He
was fucking hype after that touchdown catch.
Yeah, but
how wouldn't you be
fucking sitting on
your
the bench
first catch?
Bench all fucking year.
I expected some like awesome dance from him, but he didn't have it in him.
So we'll stay on the Lions side for now. St. Brown, okay game, but not up to your St. Brown standards.
Yeah. When Chark and Jameson are eating.
9 targets, 6 receptions, 68 yards. DJ Chark, man, 7 targets, 6 receptions, 94 yards and a touchdown. He's only on a 1-year deal there, so obviously he's been hot recently. But there's probably still some wiggle room to buy this guy without really breaking the bank too much. And I don't know where he's going to end up next year. Maybe he ends up in a Lion again, but
that seems doubtful.
He missed chunks of time and he came back, and the last couple of weeks have been really good. I traded 2/4 for him 2 or 3 weeks ago in a league and scooped him up. And I haven't started him, but it's been nice to go into next year knowing that there's a potential really good starter there. And if I needed him, it seems like I could plug him kind of moving forward here.
I spot started Josh Reynolds in a couple leagues this week too.
Wasn't a terrible start.
Scored 16 points.
Yeah. 551 touch. What would you guys be willing to pay for DJ Chark?
I'd throw a third in.
I mean, 2/4 sounds very doable. Give a fuck about 2/4.
Right.
Oh, for sure. But would you do the third?
Would you pay 2/3?
No.
I'd pay 2/3.
I'll stick with the third.
I think there's a lot of juice right there. I mean, I don't know that it's going to require that, but if I had to, I would. I think there's some juice there. I think he's been good when
probably happy to get
when playing. 21 points for DJ Chark this week. I think he's had touchdowns the last 3 weeks, maybe.
Played the second most snaps.
And he looks pretty damn good. He's figuring out how to get open. So I think there's a play there for next year before he goes and maybe has the rest of the season that's pretty decent. And then people will, there'll be the tweets of from week fucking 10 to week 16, he was the wide receiver 3 and he's on a 1-year deal and he's only this, and then it's going to be a fucking second by the middle of the offseason to get DJ Chark. So, I think there's a decent still potential buy window here.
Possible flip potential there.
A flip or just a hold. You could however you want to play that, but I think there's still some room. Swift not quite getting it done for you.
He's just not playing enough.
Right.
His playing time is down again.
Right. So I don't know what the hell is going on over there rushing wise. But Jamal Williams, 16 carries, 37 yards, didn't score a touchdown, so useless. But that's basically Jamal Williams in a nutshell.
Except he scored like 100 touchdowns.
Yeah. How many touchdowns is he going to score? And if he scores, great. If he doesn't, it's probably not great.
I think Justin Jackson had.
Yeah.
Justin Jackson. He had a nice rushing touchdown.
Yeah.
20K. I mean, they all played 20. Jamal Williams, 26 snaps. DeAndre.
I can't be mad at them. They're fucking winning. So,
yeah.
But.
Fuck around, Jared Goff, QB 12 right now.
Told you, brother.
They said they're sticking with him, and they.
Why wouldn't you?
Right. You don't have to spend. You got the Rams pick, right? So they could potentially have a decent draft pick, and I don't know where the Lions are going to finish. So they could have,
They could make the playoffs.
they certainly could. They could lose a couple more games
They could.
and
They
have
could.
2 picks in similar areas if the Rams maybe pull out another win or 3 here.
Well, they're playing the Packers on Monday Night Football.
Seems
this
like that's
week.
all they have to play for is to just make sure the
Rams are playing the Packers on Monday Night Football, and then they're playing the Broncos on Christmas Day.
not great. Not that the Broncos are crushing it, but good defense. Anything can happen there. But
Baker, though,
Cousins puts up an okay day, 28 points, 31 for 41, 425 yards.
What are you doing with Jared Goff? You holding there? You trying to sell?
fucking holding.
Buying?
Because I feel like his perception is still so low because he's Jared Goff.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, where were you? What was, Goff anywhere from the 9th to the 12th round in these past superflex drafts for
Yeah.
the most part, somewhere in there, depending on how the quarterback runs went.
Yeah.
And where they were. What would you do with? I mean, I think it's probably similar to a poor Jared Goff or a poor Derek Carr here. That maybe isn't quite as upper echelon in the public eye. And I mean, next year we could be saying Jared Goff. What the hell were we thinking?
Yeah.
And he's not the guy that you're looking to turn your team around and win you weeks, but there's a potential, QB2 there, especially QB3. So, if you need a quarterback and need some quarterback depth and potentially need a starter, I mean, Goff seems to be more than capable.
Let's just say hypothetically, you're a surefire, you're a top two team, and you just lost Kyler. Do you move the first for Goff?
No.
That was a fake
Outrage
of being carted off. They just showed the replay. We're watching the Monday night game.
You're saying if you're
A late ass one
playoff bye
Goff.
right
Yeah.
now going into the playoffs.
Yeah.
I would try to do the 1-2 swap, and then I'd feel a whole lot better about it. I don't know if I'd want to just straight give up the 1 for Goff. I mean, I get it. I get the sentiment of being back up against the wall. You got Kyler.
I mean, unless
Got
it's
the
another
first
playoff
overall
team, they're
pick.
probably not doing that.
Would you rather have Goff or Geno Smith? I feel like you could probably get that deal done for either one of those guys.
It seems like Goff would be a little bit more stable asset long term, but it's only because Goff has got a longer track record of
Yeah.
Geno's looks the part right now
He
for
looks-
sure.
yeah.
They did lose. to
I'd
the Panthers.
for sure give you a 2 for either one of those guys, and maybe even multiple 2s, but I'd be trying to hold that first.
I think yeah.
So yeah. I mean, I think that's a good question, though. I mean, it's a realistic thing that could be transpiring right now, and if you need a quarterback, I mean, some found money from Geno, and maybe even
Fucking QB
potentially
6 this year.
found money from
Jared Goff.
So this year's 2, and next year's 2 for Goff to just replace Kyler. I don't think that's the worst you can work on, replacing the 2024 2 throughout the next season.
Would you give the 24 1 for Goff or Geno?
I think
That
I'd
24 class, bro.
I think
no
I'd
way.
almost rather if I'm a top X.
Give up the 23.
I think I'd almost rather
know
give
what's
up the
going to happen in
23 because
24.
it's a bit more known at this point.
Yeah.
than-
You can
Yeah.
also try and reacquire that pick, something back.
But I don't hate it. Let's put it this way. I wouldn't just give up. I wouldn't just give up the first. I'd need to do other things. But it's like some people would vehemently say, hey, you never do this. You never chase because of an injury when you're going to the playoffs. And I disagree. I mean, you don't want to give up the farm necessarily, but that's if you're
playing in a $150, $250 league,
right.
and you've got a really good team.
Right. I'm gonna try to make some money. So I don't think I would just give the straight up first, but we could get. I wouldn't need to get a whole lot more back to try to potentially. I mean, Goff could come in next week and score 12 points.
I mean, they're playing the Jets next week too, so that
right. Let's not get crazy about it.
yeah. But if I can also win $2,000, if I got a bye next week, then I don't really care.
If you get the bye next week,
If I can win $2,000,
yeah. If you're one of those top 2 teams that has the bye and you just lost Kyler, not that Kyler's been great, but I don't even know where Kyler is. Let's see.
Playing Call of Duty.
Yeah.
World of Warcraft.
He's QB 10. So
He's keeping you in it. If that's your second quarterback, you got a good squad around him. You could definitely be.
But yeah, no, I think I could be talked into that. I mean, some people screaming, no, you can't do that. But I mean, I'm fine with it. It's that's what draft picks are for, man. Obviously, you're trying to rebuild things, but it's like also the point of the game is to win. So if I got the bye, yeah, sure, I wouldn't have to give up too much more to be persuaded into that. I like that question. It's a good question.
You're welcome.
You got something that you want to go with over there, or am I going to keep it moving?
Let's see here.
Justin Jefferson with a very quiet fucking 200 yards.
Yeah,
just
because there's no touchdown.
I
11 for 2.
I feel like nobody at 220
23.
fucking 3. Like I feel like there has been no like, holy shit. Do you see that
It's just normal.
ridiculous game for Justin? It's just, I mean, just number one. What?
Just bad drop from Hollywood.
Happens.
Need 13 points from Hollywood.
Yeah, well, that would have gotten you 3 right there.
Hmm.
Hold on a second.
Do you guys
Whoa.
play? It wasn't the worst.
It hit it right in the fucking hands.
He's diving fully outstretched.
Man, you got to catch that.
You got to catch that.
But
you got to catch that.
It wasn't the worst drop I've ever seen.
It wasn't the worst drop, but he should have caught it.
Wasn't great.
Do you guys play in any leagues
No.
that picks 7 through 12 are determined by playoff performance?
Yes.
That's like a toilet bowl.
Yeah.
No,
For sure.
7 through 12. No.
Right.
Pick 7 through 12. Not like toilet bowl.
It is the toilet bowl.
No, that's the playoffs. Pick 7 through 12. So that would be the teams that made the playoffs.
That don't make the playoffs.
I guess your picks in
I
the
think-
draft
I-
next year 7 through 12.
Right. That's what I'm
So then
I'm
playoff
assuming
team.
he's saying teams 7 through 12, not teams 1 through 6.
Correct.
If so, how do you gauge a perceived playoff team's first round pick, given it could be pick 7 or pick 12? I mean, they're all leagues are like that, right?
I would assume so.
How else do you determine the
You go
playoff
off regular
seed?
season standings, regardless of playoff, unless you're
So if
unless
you-
you're in the championship.
I mean, I don't know. Could have probably just answered that in the chat.
Yeah, you probably could have. But I play in leagues where 7 through 12 play for the you get a guaranteed whoever is the worst team who's 12, 10, 9 and 8, those teams get an automatic bye, so they have a top 4 pick.
I don't think you can like perceive. I don't think you can gauge it. It's just like
Yeah, it's a crapshoot still.
you know the top 2 teams are going to get a bye, so you know they're going to at least be 12 through 9.
Yeah.
7 and 8, I have a pretty good team going into the playoffs, and I'm going to be the 5 seed, and I'm going to play, obviously the 4 seed and then the 2 seed. So, and I have a pretty good team. If you looked at my team, you'd be like, damn, how's this thing in 5th? And I had to win a lot of games here at the end to even get into the playoffs. And so, you got to look at rosters and see. But, I mean, probably so late in the game that like it's just you're trading the mid to late first. That's why we say mid to late, because it could be 7 through 12.
I would
Like,
just assume it's the 12.
I don't think you can really gauge it. I wouldn't let it affect too many of my decisions, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah. All right, let's move to Jacksonville, Tennessee, and really, Tennessee going
Oh
the
my
opposite
God.
direction.
Hey, I got a quick question for you. Would you trade Breece Hall for Baker Mayfield,
No.
Deontay Johnson, and Rashad White in a Superflex league?
Negative.
Okay, cool. I'll just decline that trade then, Jason.
Just decline that one. Jacksonville playing pretty well here through the stretch. Still technically in the playoff hunt, I believe. Tennessee going the opposite direction, getting a win in division versus Tennessee. Just getting bad.
If Tennessee would have, if Jacksonville would have beaten the Lions last week, they would have controlled their destiny.
Yeah. Interesting.
They're what was posturing? What was the
Loitering.
loitering? They're in the hunt.
So really, we were talking about T-Law a little while ago. Obviously, Evan Ingram put up a ridiculous day.
game.
15 targets, 11 receptions, 162 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
My goodness.
Like absolutely crazy. Christian Kirk, just fine, getting you 9. You hope
I'm
for
gonna
12.
lose the 102 in a league because I started Ingram. I'm gonna lose the 102 because I started Ingram at a flex spot because I literally had no one else to play.
Say my fucking name.
Zay Jones coming out, having a nice season.
Just a cherry on top.
We're about to get to run the whole Zay thing back because Zay Flowers is coming out, baby. Let's go. So we're
Say
gonna,
my name.
Do you-
Say my name.
Are you
Tuesdays.
liking what you see from the BC
sure.
senior?
I like it's been a fun watch.
But Zay Jones, though,
Did you
right?
did you at 247 about their list, by the way?
No, someone should. What a stupid list. At 24/7 Sports is putting together a list of underclassmen who have declared. But if you're a senior with another year of eligibility and you've declared, you're not on their list. It's like, this is an incomplete list. Like, who are the guys declaring? Well, can't look at that list. That's a stupid list.
Right.
Why don't you use all your resources and put together a good fucking list, 247?
Because they're not underclassmen. They're seniors.
Stupid list. Who gives a fuck? Technically, if you're a senior and you have another eligibility, a year of eligibility, you're an underclassman.
Don't ask me to send you any fucking links anymore.
I didn't ask for a link. I asked who I was missing off the list of
I
players
guess what? That was
that I had. And you sent me a link I already Googled and saw that it was underclassmen who haven't declared. And it was an incomplete list.
Girls.
Will I find them?
Girls. Let's give T-Law his due here. We're running out of time. T-Law put up 36 fantasy points according to PFF this week. 30 of 42, 368 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Per PFF since week 9, 1,362 passing yards, 10 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 71.8% completion percentage. That's number 1. And 111.7 passer rating. That's number 2.
I think it moved
for Trevor Lawrence there. So a very good stretch of football for Trevor Lawrence, not turning it over. Now, there is some fumbles in there, which he does fumble, and not saying that they're all his fault. He's usually trying to scramble around and make some more time. I'm surprised you even have that thing still up, because after Carolina beat you guys, it's been just down in the dumps about everything.
They won the ACC championship.
You know, I haven't heard a ton of shit from Carolina fans. It's like they realize what's happened in the last 12 years. So
not this one, though. That's all that matters right now. Not that I even like Carolina, but
yeah, you don't like any college teams.
Not really. I mean, I liked
Casey doesn't like college.
I liked Clemson on the rise up, and now they're one of the worst fans, mostly because I live in South Carolina and I hear about it all the fucking time.
Bro, you're from Pennsylvania.
They're almost as bad as the Carolina fans were when I first moved here. About they were so close, but the next quarterback, he's going to be the best. He's it, man. He's going to be the one, and it just hasn't happened.
Their quarterbacks suck.
But I do love what's going on in Carolina.
Steven Garcia.
I do love what's going on in Carolina right now, and I really like Beamer.
Beamer ball, baby.
I will for sure be attending a few Carolina games next year because I do enjoy. I feel like there is a rise sort of coming from the Carolina game.
Did you see their tight end transfer to Florida State?
I did see that, and their running backs also transferred.
Lattimore?
I think so.
Huh.
I just saw that today.
Let me look.
Can we get back to Trevor Lawrence? Fuck this shit.
Trevor Lawrence has been playing out of his mind over the last couple of games. Obviously, that was week 9 per PFF. So really moving forward will be interesting. I don't know that his value is gonna. He was already like mid second round coming into this year, and it wasn't really. There's probably people a lot really tearing that down for the first part of the season, and I feel like the back half of the season is probably going to end up putting him back right around where he was, unless really spectacular for the last 4 or 5 weeks here.
I don't think the perception is gone that far away. When you get on the clock and these super flexes, Trevor Lawrence still has that name cash.
Well,
the draft capital.
I think because of where he's going to end up, finishing. He's He's 9 right. He's 9 right now, and he's putting up good numbers. People are going to be talking about that, and I think that's going to bring him kind of back around to probably be about where he was, unless he has a spectacular finish. Then he probably could bump up to the first round.
Yes, Marshawn Lloyd is in the transfer portal.
Yep. But so I like what's happening right now in Jacksonville. He's got a real head coach who can kind of coach up a quarterback. I don't love the head coach necessarily, but I do. I do like him for what's there right now. And it seems to be, a really good blend of things going on with Trevor Lawrence. Now, the one bummer is the running game is seeming to kind of get away from them, whereas the running game was pretty decent. ETN, after the foot injury here, not great. 17 for 32, 1.9 YPC, no touchdowns, and then
No catches.
as many. Penei Sewell had more catches than Travis Etienne did this week. So that I don't know if it's a foot injury, and they're just trying to
I think it's a lack of lateral agility,
and so Etienne was up a little bit, was down in the beginning of the season, up kind of half mid-season, and now probably back down. There could be potential buy window here for Etienne. It's probably come down to whether or not you want do you want Tank Bigsby? Do you want Evans? Do you want Charbonnet, or would you rather have Travis Etienne
at the end?
Because probably not Gibbs and Bijan, but the rest of those 4 or 5 running backs that are kind of. I'm not saying I have them in any order. That way, I'm sure.
Or to spitball.
Just probably missed somebody there.
What is DeAndre Hopkins doing with this fucking ball? He tried to cross him up like Allen Iverson with the ball out here.
That was a bad fumble.
And his fumble 6. What a jabron. Come on, man.
So
I'd take ETN over all of them. I don't even have to look at them dudes yet.
Of course not.
you
want Charbonnet over ET?
Charbonnet or ETN.
And
I don't think most people don't like Charbonnet, right?
He could potentially be on the lower end of some of those guys. I just know that some people have him up there, and I just spouted off a list of the other 4 or 5 running backs besides kind of the guys, the top 2 who have seemingly separated from the rest, for at least right now.
Yeah.
So that's probably a decent conversation to have, kind of moving forward. Maybe we'll talk about that with JB or something.
That's good. Yeah, that's a good one. We'll put the old tickler file.
ET, struggling a little bit right now, and I don't know if it's a coincidence with the injury or not. But not looking particularly great. He did get fed enough here. The Titans are, a decent.
They're figuring it out from the passing standpoint. He was kind of carrying them earlier on. Like, he was the only sign of fucking hope on that team, just getting first downs, getting big chunk plays.
Yeah. Now everybody else is kind of, Trevor's kind of.
What was the pass to run ratio on that game?
They had 42 attempts and they had 17.
Not
18,
very many.
25, then 25 with Lawrence's 3 carries. So offense was playing well though. They were scoring points.
Tennessee's got a good run D. Tennessee's D is always pretty good. They just,
but you're not getting the targets you want to see with ETN, and you're certainly not getting the points that you want out of ETN right now. And I don't know if the injury has anything to do with it, but there could be a buy window there. Really, the only thing to talk about from the Titan side is Okonkwo, and we've been funneling you Okonkwo since the beginning of the season, middle of the season, off seasons. You got to take your laps when you're taking your laps. He looks fucking fantastic out there. Now, no Burks, probably helping out. This is certainly a lower volume, pass volume team. Somebody could probably be telling you to sell this guy because he's not going to be able to get the opportunities that he deserves. But everything could change so fast.
He should be their tight end 1 next year.
And he looks absolutely outstanding. And I would be buying. You don't want to buy this guy for a ridiculous amount, but I'd be buying for any third for sure.
Man, how come we don't have him on this team we drafted together? You should have made me get him. It's your boy, right?
He's not my boy. I thought he looked good at Maryland, but
man, that would have been.
It's all about Conklin.
Yeah. Hey, that's not working out terrible either.
They had a nice stretch. Conklin had a great stretch, and then they just once Uzama came back, kind of got muddied up a little bit, and then Flacco.
Well, once
Flacco went out, and
Zach Wilson came back, that was really the death of everyone.
But Okonkwo, you probably not paying a second for him. But anything less than that, 100%.
I mean, he's probably been the 3rd best rookie tight end.
I don't with a rookie tight end that's coming out showing that he can play and score touchdowns. I don't want to hear the argument of volume and all this shit. Like, the man can play. Like, that's all there is to it. If you can flash as a rookie tight end, fire it up.
Right. All right. Let's. What else do you want? Let's get Baltimore, Pittsburgh in here because we got J.K. Dobbins in there, which is an interest to some people, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. I put him on the cover. We got to show him. We got to talk about him.
Tyler Huntley left the game with a concussion.
You mean Snoop Huntley? Did you see that? Fucking Ian Rappaport called him that in a tweet.
No.
Like, what the hell is that?
Tyler Huntley left the game. Anthony Brown came in. This was an ugly game. Pickett left the game. Mitchell came in, threw 3 interceptions.
What happened? Was it a concussion with Pickett?
Yeah.
Pickett and Huntley both concussed. But the big story of this one was a little bit of the reemergence of J.K. Dobbins, which you're excited about, but you see everyone's seen the clip by now of
When was that limp? When did that happen? Is that like his last run?
I don't think it was his last. It was a big
He
run.
scored a touchdown after that?
I'm not sure exactly, but
Because it didn't look good. It looked like this man's really hurt.
It certainly didn't look good, but it's also just, when you're coming back from an injury like that and then you had a secondary surgery,
Watch this catch.
There's-
Breezy just got lit up. I'm sorry.
there's a certain amount of protection that you're going to, put out there for yourself.
Yeah.
So, is it a concern? I don't know that it necessarily is. I think what you want to do is you want to see Dobbins get out of this season without accruing another injury. And he looked good enough here.
Oh,
8
yeah.
yards per carry. That means he's good.
Long
If
of
it
44.
was
That was the run. when he was limping.
pre-injury, he was one of the faster backs in the league, and
big black ass like fast.
that run would have been an easy touchdown for him.
Right.
And that's part of the appeal of the posse. Is I just watched that Seinfeld the other day. What's the appeal of the posse? Oh, the appeal of the posse.
Like having a posse.
Yeah,
I don't know if I've
putting
seen that
together a
one.
posse.
Is this the George and Jerry thing?
They do have like
No,
a
it's,
posse, right?
It's
Are they not a posse?
It's he's
Four of
dating the artist lady, and they're watching a movie. Anyway,
Gotcha.
So J.K. Dobbins, if you can get out from under J.K. Dobbins right now, I mean, we talked about this last time J.K. Dobbins came back and scored a touchdown. Could you get out for the first? I think you're not getting a first for him at this point.
No. Maybe 2 seconds.
Would you looking to get out, or are you just holding?
I'm holding at this
just gonna
point.
hold on to J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah, I'm just holding.
Interesting.
You paid the first. You paid the first. Why would I get off of him?
What's the word, man? What's the word with this injury?
I mean, I think he just had a bad injury, and then he needed to get that thing cleaned up, and he's back out there playing, which is good, and he didn't look bad. He just doesn't have the next gear, and there's a little bit of a hitch in the giddy up. I mean, I think that's somewhat to be,
There's a lot of hitch.
He's not 100%. Apparently not too bad. He went 15 for 120 and a touchdown.
Precisely.
But I don't know where that run was. I didn't see that.
It doesn't. What does it even matter though? Like,
if it was his last run,
who cares? It's still there. It doesn't matter if it was the first run or the last run. It doesn't matter. It's still there. I mean, it's not like
it didn't look like he had any hitch in the touchdown giddy up that he ran.
He also wasn't broken out in the open field running.
Yeah,
trying to get to that next gear. I've been, that's all I know is that I've been there, and I know what that's like to be. I don't know if I fully trust this thing. And now you had another surgery to clean it up before you thought you were back, but you had to have another one. And it's just like, hey, you're kind of protecting that thing. Like, fuck, the way I put my shoe on one foot is different. I had not that I'm an NFL player, but I had a bad injury and multiple surgeries, and I put my shoe on different on that foot because I'm constantly guarding that fucking knee.
Thought we put the pants on the same way we do.
I mean, I do put my pants on the same way they do, but you put your pants on the same way we do. The Lou Holtz.
Fuck Lou Holtz.
Touche.
But is that a great thing moving forward? No, but I think if you could get a whole season of not being re-injured and getting back on the right tree, he's not that
Everyone's
old.
holding.
He's 23.
Yeah.
Everyone's holding.
He was young coming
It's right
out.
there. It's right there.
Could be almost 24.
No, I mean, I think you got to hold. It's nice to see him back.
It's his second year in the league.
Third, right? This is
Okay.
I think it's his third year, right?
Let's look at third year.
Yeah, sorry. My apologies.
Seems like it's his second because he's always banged up.
So fun to see what was going on with
Heyo!
Fun to see what was going on with J.K. Dobbins there. You didn't like to see the hitch in the giddy up, but we're all you probably got to hold it. I don't think there's any sell window open at this point.
No.
If you hate him, you could sell him now, but
sure for a lot.
Then why
less,
did you
but
draft him?
You're hoping to get back. You might have turned on him after he's been hurt. Some people, once you're hurt twice, you're dead.
Fucking
You're
done.
dead.
But I could argue that that's probably one of the better ways to create a great roster. Like
Boy.
to be trading for the guys who are hurt when your roster's not up and up, like Rashad Bateman right now, is somebody that you should be trying to put on the roster because he's hurt. He's not helping anybody out, and people forget about him. The value could potentially get down a little bit lower, and it's a decent way to, continuously build up a roster for a little cheaper than expected, and then you really could get a huge bounce back in value or play from those guys. So we talk about all the time in the rebuild. That's the first target, is go to the good teams with the guy on IR or the guy who's been banged up, who isn't helping them right now. Give them somebody who's helping them, who's not quite as good as the guy who's on IR, but he's helping them now. And it's a way to really kind of slow build that team, and hopefully you get an explosion kind of on the way back. So would you buy J.K. Dobbins for a first right now?
No. I'm not getting the first.
Okay. Fair enough. Anybody want to talk about anything else before we get out of here?
Why the fuck did you start Michael Gallup over Miles Sanders?
I like the Texans versus the fucking. There's a 17-point spread in that game. And I like the Texans versus the Cowboys, and potential that there could be the Cowboys could drop 40 on them. Gallup has 2 touchdowns.
All you gotta say is fucked up.
Oh, for sure. I mean, definitely. It really doesn't have that much bearing on anything. But
what are you doing with Miles Sanders right now?
I think we'll save that conversation for JB. We'll talk a little.
Holster it. We'll sheath it. I'm so sick. Can we talk about these DBs and their fucking sheathing of their proverbial sword? All of them are doing it. It's fucking annoying as shit. Especially if it was like a bad throw or a bad drop and you didn't do shit and you're just celebrating.
The absolute worst.
Fucking hate it.
When you're getting so fucking hyped for you did fucking nothing.
Yeah.
Just
and then
ridiculous.
they're all just sheathing.
Or when they do it,
they're short.
Or when they do it, they get called for pass interference.
Yeah. I guess we could touch on Tua for a second here at the end. Is you had 2 bad. We kind of started. Might as well finish talking to Tua a little earlier. Nice season so far. Was really crushing it. Got in that San Fran game. They kind of know how to defend what's going on. Albeit,
and they have a great defense to do it with. Which
they were missing 2 offensive linemen, but there were plays there for Tua to hit in that San Fran game that could have made it a little bit different kind of moving forward, and they were just a tick off, and it seemed to really carry over into this next game where the Chargers kind of watched. They even, I think Collinsworth noted it, how like the backers and stuff were a little bit deeper on some of these drops,
and they were running,
and they were getting a little deeper because of the way that the Niners had kind of played against this team.
3 games hadn't took off,
and so they were, kind of maybe laid a small blueprint, and Tua still, I'm sure a little rattled, plus a bad game last week. They didn't get their timing back on cue here, and Herbert's plain and simple the better quarterback. I'm not even sure why anybody is. I know 2 things can't be simultaneously true. That Tua is not a bad quarterback, and Justin Herbert is a really good quarterback. I don't have to say Tua sucks and Herbert's good.
Yeah.
Which I know is impossible in talking about sports. You can't ever have a lukewarm medium take about somebody. It has to be, well, Tua's fucking terrible and Herbert's the best, or Herbert's overrated and Tua's so much better than him that, it's just, the dumbest shit ever. Any thoughts on Wilson is banged up.
Or banged out.
Thoughts on Tua? What were you saying?
No, not necessarily thoughts on Tua, but Donta Foreman, potentially
the 3-man backfield there.
Kind of moving. Yeah, I mean, 21 carries for Foreman.
I don't have any carries.
What's that? Yeah. Any thoughts on
Yeah, why were you buying him?
Moving forward on selling Donta Foreman?
You should have been already.
You should have been already? Because,
yeah.
I mean, if you're a playoff contender, you probably don't want to move 21 carries right now.
How often are they going to have that positive game script?
Bingo.
I mean, they've been
being a dickhead.
They've been pounding the rock with Foreman for
weeks.
Yeah. I'd rather have Chuba.
You'd rather have Chuba moving forward, sure, but not week in, week out right now, right?
Yeah.
You'd rather have Chuba Hubbard week in, week out than you want 4 carries.
4 carries.
14, sorry. They gave him 14 this week. To 21.
He also is getting the receiving work as well, too.
I mean, I don't know how recently he's been getting the receiving work, but this game he certainly did. He got 2 more targets than Donta Foreman did.
Definitely more explosive.
Oh, for sure. 100. I mean, I like Chuba Hubbard a whole lot. I'm just saying that Foreman's been a nice little couple of weeks of a game log here, and Chuba's has been sparse, I believe.
He was injured.
I mean, he was.
Chuba has 10 targets on the year.
Yeah.
8 receptions.
I just what's Donta Foreman been up to? Just fucking carrying teams to the fucking playoffs is what Donta Foreman's been up to.
Foreman,
not great.
16 since week 7, 16 and a half, 31.8, 4, 19 to 11, 8.5.
I wouldn't say that's carrying.
That's going to be very startable running back for
flexible,
a decent amount of teams.
Flexible.
It's hard out there in Dynasty.
What are we thinking moving forward with Donta Foreman here? Kid looks like he has a little juice.
The Achilles Avenger. Good call, Ridley Truther.
Would you play? I guess you're just out on Foreman. You said he sucked a while ago, so this is already preconceived notion. Now I'm recalling that you were way out on him before, so you can't change your mind. So
never.
Yeah. It's all making sense. It's all coming back to me.
Let's see. They're playing the Steelers.
Celine Dion.
Would you give it a 2
for Foreman? Are you fucking high?
And get
maybe
and get back a 3?
Nah.
No.
Okay. All right.
Ain't no way, man.
Just a 2-3 swap for Foreman. That's no good. You don't think he could help you out next year?
Next year?
Yeah.
Well, he's got to be like an unrestricted free agent.
I'm not sure
26 years old.
What his deal is. I mean, he's an old running back. I mean, there's no point of talking about Foreman with you.
I think I said back when we talked about this that he's an unrestricted free agent next year.
No.
Nah, I don't want anything is attached to Foreman. Unless it's Matt Foreman.
Then I'm giving up the first.
You know, it's a fair deal for Bijan Robinson. Matt Foreman.
Just gauging the temperature of some Foreman
cool.
here. Yeah, that's piss poor here. Ended the show on a low note.
I know. I wish you wouldn't even brought him up.
Well, I want to
on my
talk
way to
about him.
asleep now.
I've been, watching him, and he looks pretty decent out there.
He looked pretty decent last year for the Titans.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's fucking.
He did finish.
So he'll go to another team, and then that running back will have to get injured, and maybe he can carry you to an on week, off week kind of finish
happen?
next
You
year.
know what's going to happen? The fucking Rams are going to sign him.
I'll take the 2.
Speaking of the Rams, shout out to Daryl Henderson getting cut again.
Out of here. Pierre Strong sighting a touchdown. Shout out
0 snaps for the Jaguars in his career.
Shout out to Angelo. Got to talk to him soon.
J Mike too. J Mike, big strong guy.
J Mike is a big strong guy. Shout out to J Mike and Angelo.
All right, let's get out of here.
Yes, thank you.
We're done with the live stream, so no more of this.
No more of
Catch
this.
us on the Patreon.
Till we and we skipped the live stream last week, but we went live on the Patrons.
Mm-hmm.
Just more reason for you to head over to the patreons.com/FF Dynasty. Go buy a T-shirt, revelrybrewco.com. I mean, when Casey told you to subscribe like in the beginning, if that wasn't enough, then I'll tell you again, go subscribe, hit like. If I answered your question, man, you better hit like on this video.
And subscribe.
Appreciate you guys. I'm assuming they're all subscribed.
Subscriber.
Go over to Spotify, hit that 5-star review. Go over to iTunes, hit the little 5-star review. Somebody gave us a 5-star review because we quoted a Lil Wayne song. They're like, I like these guys. Immediate 5-star review.
Boom.
All it took was a Lil Wayne quote.
Boom,
Like
boom,
that.
boom. Let's go, Pierre.
Who's got the Bic lighter?
We're about to hit some rookies, some 2023 rookies.
How to get hot and heavy on the rookies.
Got a few guests lined up coming on. Probably gonna go do a few less shows of the free show. Do some more Patreon shows coming up.
Oh,
So,
your boy just needs to get out from underneath this house that I've been building, and then I got some shit up my sleeve here. So
just go and
Let's
get
go.
you a mortgage already, dude. What are you doing? Just paint the house.
that's lot
Finish the bathroom.
a lot of shit going on. The bathrooms are done, but
Oh yeah.
a lot of shit going on. But nothing ever good is easy. So
Appreciate all y'all that joined me in the chat. Come hit up the Discord. We'll be back on Wednesday. We'll record Wednesday. We'll get a show out at some point after
Thursday.
that. Well, we'll see how Wednesday night goes.
It'll only be an hour show with JB.
Oh, he's got a hard out. He
Yeah.
always has those hard
He
outs.
doesn't have anywhere to fucking be. He just
No, I think they go live over on the Dynasty.
not on Wednesdays. The Tuesdays. they do.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right,
He'll stick
appreciate
around
y'all.
if we need him to.
Peace.